Hello, Aaron. This is Daddy Eric here, and I'm sending you this tape because I love you, but I also want you to share it with your brother David because I love him too. And you can share it with Patrice and Judith because I love them too. And Akiva because I also love Akiva. And with anybody else you want. And now I'm going to sing you a little song. It goes like this. My baby does the hanky-panky. 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 My baby, my baby now, my baby now, my baby now. One more time. My baby does the hanky-panky. 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 My baby, my baby now, my baby now, my baby now. Yeah! This next song is called 20 Flight Rock, and it goes like this. Well, I got a gal with a record machine. When it comes to rockin', she's the queen. Get together on a Saturday night. Well, alone I can hold her tight, but she lives on the 20th floor uptown. The elevator's broken down, so I climb 1, 2, flight 3, flight 4, 5, 6, 7, flight 8, flight more. Up on the 12th, I'm ready to drag. By the 15th floor, I'm starting to sag. I get to the top, I'm too tired to rock. West called me up on the telephone, said, "Come over, baby, I'm all alone." I said, "Honey, you're mighty sweet, but I'm in bed with an aching feet." This went on for a couple of days. I couldn't stay away, so I climbed 1, 2, flight 3, flight 4, 5, 6, 7, flight 8, flight more. Up on the 12th, I'm ready to drag. By the 15th floor, I'm starting to sag. I get to the top, I'm too tired to rock. Sent to Chicago for repairs till it's fixed. I'm using the stairs. I hope they hurry before it's too late. My baby too much to wait. All this climbing's getting me down. If I'm a corpse draped over a rail, but I climb 1, 2, flight 3, flight 4, 5, 6, 7, flight 8, flight more. Up on the 12th, I'm ready to drag. By the 15th floor, I'm starting to sag. I get to the top, I'm too tired to rock. All right, this next song is called Black Slacks, and it goes like this. Black slacks, black slacks, black slacks, black slacks, black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm raring to go. When I go places, I just don't care. You'll know why when you see what I wear. Black slacks, or 1014 black slacks, really are keen black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm raring to go. Black slacks, black slacks. Black slacks, black slacks, black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm here to go. Black slacks, black slacks, black slacks, black slacks, black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I go places, I'm rearing to go. When I go places, I just don't care. You'll know why when you see what I wear. Black slacks, a 1014 black slacks, really are keen black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm rearing to go. When I put them on, I'm rearing to go. When I put them on, I'm rearing to go. Black slacks, black slacks, black slacks, black slacks, black slacks. Make a cool daddy-o. When I put them on, I'm rearing to go. This is a short song about smoke. It goes like this. I hate smoke, I hate smoke. It makes me gag, it makes me choke. I hate smoke, I hate smoke. There's nothing holy about smoke. Ba-dum. And now another short song. Eat all your broccoli, it's fresh and green, but make sure it is very well cleaned. Wash all the bugs out and put them outside so they can find foliage in which to hide. Thank you. This next song is about bugs, and it was written by our friend Hulda Clark. It goes, I'm not going to kill a bug. I'm not going to kill a bee. I'm not going to kill a single thing from A to Z. I'm going to watch it jump. I am going to watch it run. I am going to watch it fly around, just having fun. I'm going to say hello. I'm glad you came this way. You don't have to be afraid of me, so have a nice day. I hope you find some food. Be careful not to waste. I hope you have some children too, in a safe, safe place. I never will swat a fly that isn't in my house, and I'll shoo away the hornets and wasps and rats or a mouse. Shoo! Now, spider dear, I'm sure you'd rather be outside. I'll carry you out to the bush and grass where you can hide. Each creepy crawly thing is here to live like me. It wants to eat and sleep and play just like me. They all belong to nature, and nature's part of me. So if they're not attacking, I'll have their company. Yeah. That was a nice little song by Hulda Clark. And now here's another song about when you're in a bad mood, and it's called Everything Bothers Me. It's very short. It goes like this. Everything bothers me, everything's bad, everything is unhappy, and everything's sad. Again. Everything bothers me, everything's bad, everything is unhappy, and everything's sad. Sometimes when I'm sad, I feel like everything is sad too, and everything's unhappy. Everything bothers me, everything's bad, everything is unhappy, and everything's sad. But I don't always feel that way. Sometimes I feel happy. And then I sing another song. Let's sing a punk rock song. This is called Teenage Lobotomy. Lobotomy! 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 Da 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 da. DDT did a job on me. Now I am a real sickie. Guess I have to spread the news that I got no mind to lose. Gonna get my PhD. I'm a teenage lobotomy. Slugs and snails are after me. TDT keeps me happy. Now I guess I'll have to tell them that I got no cerebellum. All the girls are in love with me. I'm a teenage lobotomy. Okay, it's time for a story. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's time for a story. It's time for Madeline. Madeline and the Bad Hat. That's the name of this story. Let's start at page 1. Now remember, since I'm just reading this story and not showing you the pictures, you're going to have to make up the pictures and see them in your own mind. This story starts in an old house in Paris. It takes place in France. Paris, France. It says, in an old house in Paris that was covered with vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. They left the house at 9:30 in 2 straight lines, in rain or in shine. The smallest one was Madeline. Now, there are 2 lines of girls, and the smallest one, who's that? That's Madeline. And there's a teacher in between them, and she's taking them around the city. One day, the Spanish ambassador moved into the house next door. And he moved in lots of stuff,
pictures and books and pots and clocks and plants and things, all sorts of stuff in the house across the street where the 12 girls, including Madeline, lived with their teacher. "Look, my darlings," said the teacher, "what bliss, what joy! His Excellency has a boy." In other words, there's a little boy who's the son of the Spanish ambassador, and he moved into the house with the Spanish ambassador. Madeline said, "It is evident that this little boy is a bad hat." And she pointed to him while he made faces from his window across the street. See, the thing is that in the spring, when birdies sing, something suddenly went zing. And you know what that was? That was the boy, the bad hat boy, in a tree, wearing his hat, with a slingshot, and he was shooting a rock at a little girl who was exercising, causing pain and shocked surprise during morning exercise. That was very bad. On hot summer nights, he ghosted, which means that he dressed up like a ghost and tried to scare children. In the autumn wind, he boasted that he flew the highest kite. Year in, year out, he was polite. He was sure and quick on ice when he was roller skating or ice skating. And Miss Clavel, she's a teacher, said, "Isn't he nice?" One day, he climbed upon the wall and cried, "Come, I invite you all. Come over sometime and I'll let you see my toys and my menagerie. My frogs and birds and bugs and bats, squirrels, hedgehogs, and 2 cats. The hunting in this neighborhood is exceptionally good." But Madeline said, "Please don't molest us. Your menagerie does not interest us." See, he had all those animals all trapped in cages, and she didn't want to see that. So he changed his clothes and said, "I bet this invitation they'll accept." And he dressed up as a matador, that's a bullfighter. Madeline answered, "A torero," which is also a name for a matador, "is not our idea of a hero." She wasn't happy because bullfighters fight bulls, and she doesn't want people who fight animals. The poor lad left. He was lonesome and blue. He shut himself in. What else could he do? But in a short while, the little elf was back again in his old self. He was pouring water on a man from upstairs, pretending it was raining, and making the man put on an umbrella. Said Miss Clavel, "It seems to me he needs an outlet for his energy. A chest of tools might be attractive for a boy that's very active." So she bought the little boy next door, the bad hat, a chest of tools so he could build things. "I knew it," she said. "Listen to him play, hammering, sawing, and working away." Oh, but that boy was really mean. He built himself a guillotine. He was unmoved by the last look the frightened chickens gave the cook. He ate them. He ate the chickens, roasted, grilled, and Frito. Oh, what a horror was Pepito. That's the name of the boy. One day, when out to take the air, Madeline said, "Oh, look who's there." Pepito carried a bulging sack. He was followed by an increasing pack of all the dogs in the neighborhood. "That boy is simply misunderstood," said Miss Clavel. "Look at him bringing those doggies food." He said, "Let's have a game of tag." And he let a cat out of the bag. There were no trees, and so instead that cat jumped on Pepito's head. And now just listen to the poor boy crying, "Au secours!" which you must cry if by any chance you're ever in need of help in France, because the dogs are barking woof, 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 and chasing the cat. They were fighting. Miss Clavel ran fast and faster to the scene of the disaster. She came in time to save the bad hat, and Madeline took care of the cat. "Goodbye, Fido. So long, Rover. Let's go home. The fun is over," said Madeline to the dogs. There was sorrowing and pain in the embassy of Spain. You see, the bad hat boy, he was hurt by all the dogs and cat fighting, so the doctor came running to fix him up, and his parents were very worried, and they were crying, and the cook was crying, and the maid was crying, and all sorts of people were crying because they didn't know what was going to happen, and the ambassador wept tears of joy. as she thanked Miss Clavel for saving her boy, because it turned out he was going to be all right. Nothing, said the ambassador, would cheer up poor Pepito more than a visit from next door. So, see, he asked Miss Clavel to bring all the 12 girls over from next door to visit his poor boy in bed, because he was all hurt from the cat and dogs and needed to have someone cheer him up. Only one visitor at a time. Will you go in first, Miss Madeline? So Madeline went in on tiptoe and whispered, Can you hear me, Pepito? It serves you right, you horrid brat, for what you did to that poor cat. I'll never hurt another cat, Pepito said. I swear to that. I've learned my lesson. Please believe I'm turning over a new leaf. That's fine, she said. I hope you do. We will all keep our eyes on you. And lo and behold, the former barbarian turned into a vegetarian. And the starling and turtle and bunny and bat went back to their native habitat. So that means that Pepito stopped hurting animals, he only ate vegetables, and he let all the animals go that he had in cages and let them go out into the woods and be happy again. His love of animals was such, even Miss Clavel said, It's too much! The little girls cried, Boo-hoo! That's when, see, Pepito was trying to be so good to animals that he was letting them all out of the zoo. He let the kangaroo out of the zoo. He let all the birds out of the zoo, and the lions and the tigers and the big giant elephant. But that was kind of scary to the girls to have an elephant running around. But Madeline said, I know what to do. And Madeline told Pepito that he was no longer a bad hat. She said, You are our pride and joy. You are the world's most wonderful boy. They went home and broke their bread and brushed their teeth and went to bed. And Miss Clavel turned out the light. She said, I knew it would all come out right. And that's the story of the bad hat. The little boy who did mean things because he didn't get enough attention, but he ended up being a good hat. He wasn't a bad hat at all. At the end, he was nice to animals and children and everybody. So it was a good story. And now I'm going to play a song about the bad hat. And you know who's going to sing this song? Madeline and the other 12 little girls are going to sing this song for you called The Bad Hat.
You see, it is very clear to me that this little boy is a bad hat. A bad hat? Mon Dieu, c'est terrible. Oui, regardez. You could call him mean. You could call him naughty. You could call him cruel. You could call him haughty. But he is something worse than that. What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? A bad hat. Imagine that, a bad hat. A bad hat. Imagine that. This little boy's a brat. This little boy's quite elfish. This little boy's a rat. This little boy's quite selfish. But he is even worse than that. What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? A bad hat. Imagine that, a bad hat. A bad hat. Imagine that. He is not kind to plants. He is not kind to doggies. He is not kind kind to ants. He is not kind to froggies. He is unkind and even worse than that. What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? A bad, bad hat. A bad, bad hat. Imagine that. Imagine that. A bad, bad hat.
Guess what, everybody? Our old friend Christy is here with us, and she has something to say.
Hi, Aaron and David. This is Christy. You might remember me, Aaron, as the gymnastics lady. Remember we did the flips and you put your chin to your chest so you always, your back of your neck didn't get hurt. Anyway, like we were saying, Madeline is my favorite story. I love Madeline. And there's only one person I love more than Madeline, and that's the Bad Hat. Now, you wonder, why would I like someone bad? Well, let me tell you. The Bad Hat starts out bad, but he gets good, you'll notice. So I want you to listen to the story carefully, and you'll notice when the Bad Hat gets good. And you know what? I'm a teacher now, and I teach 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds in kindergarten, and they love the Bad Hat. And anytime they're being bad, they say, "Stop being the Bad Hat." And you know what? Anyone that's bad can always turn good. And that's why we love the Bad Hat. Bye, Aaron. Bye, David.
You are our pride and joy. You are the world's most wonderful boy. Gracias, Madeline. Does that mean I'm no longer a bad hat? Oui, oui, Pepito. Pooh-pooh. I used to be quite mean. I used to be quite naughty. I used to be quite cruel. I used to be quite haughty. But you were something worse than that. What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? A bad, bad hat. Imagine that, a bad, bad hat. A bad, bad hat. Imagine that. Once I was a brat. Once I was quite elfish. Once I was a rat. Once I was quite selfish. But you were even worse than that. What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? A bad, bad hat. Imagine that, a bad, bad hat. A bad, bad hat. Imagine that. You were unkind to plants. You were unkind to doggies. You were unkind to ants. You were unkind to froggies. I was unkind and even worse than that. What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? A bad, bad hat. A bad, bad hat. Imagine that. Imagine that. A bad, bad hat. Adios, bad hat.
Did you hear Pepito say, "Adios, Bad Hat"? Well, Pepito speaks Spanish. Aaron and David, can you speak Spanish? I bet you can. All right, first I'm going to count to 10 in English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in Spanish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you try. Hey, Eric thinks that's pretty funny. Speaking of pretty funny, what about buenas noches? Good night. But hey, it's the morning. It's
Hey,
well,
wait, Christy, let's play
I'm
that
getting
game-
all
That game
confused.
that you're really good at, where I name a letter and then you tell me a word, and you could tell me Spanish words.
Oh, all right. That sounds like fun.
Okay, ready?
You know what? I like to play with this Eric guy. He's pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Okay,
right.
ready? Okay, this first letter. Ready?
Okay, yep.
Okay, ready? Is L.
L. I love my new sweater. Thank you.
So L is for love. And what's love in Spanish?
Amor. Te amo means I love you. Te amo. Te amo. Te amo.
Thanks, Christy. And didn't you have any? Okay, how about another one? Okay.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'm up for the challenge, but oh boy. Okay.
Do another letter. Ready?
All right,
Okay.
all right.
Okay. M.
M. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
So where's the M?
The M is in muchos.
Oh, muchos.
Muchos means a
Like-
lot. Like you can say, I love you. Muchos.
But of course, moo stands with M.
Oh,
starts
that's
with
a
M
cow.
too.
Now, see, we're in Indiana, Aaron and David, and there are lots of cows. And, of course, we all know what cows say. Moo! Oh,
Hey,
hey! I'm
Wait,
tickling Eric.
Wait, stop.
Oh, all right. You know what? He just said stop, and I was following the stop rule. Do you know what the stop rule is?
What's the stop rule?
Well, that's if someone says stop, well, you just stop. And I did.
That's
But you know
a good
what? I'm going to tickle you again another
Stop
time.
rule. Oh. Okay, well, I guess that's all the time we have for Christy, huh?
That's it, boys and girls. I got to go get my laundry out of the dryer and fold it and put it away for a brand new day.
Okay, well, thanks for playing with us.
All
See you
right.
later.
Bye-bye.
Here are a couple of songs in Hebrew that I remember when I was a little boy, and I'm going to sing them now. I bet Judith remembers them too from when she was little. This one's called Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov shever achim gam yahad. Hine matov shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shever achim gam yachad. I wonder what that means. I guess you'll have to ask somebody and maybe they can figure it out. Here's another song. It's called Im Tirtzu, and it goes something like this. Im Tirtzu, ein so agada, ba-da-da-da-dum, liotam choshi be'artzenu, be'eretz Zion, Yerushalayim Tirtzu, Im Tirtzu, ein so agada, ba-da-da-da-dum, liotam choshi be'artzenu, be'eretz Zion, Yerushalayim Tirtzu, and it goes on and on like that for a long time. So And well, I guess I better go on to another song. Actually, this is a story. I'm going to tell you the old story of the bullfrog. I'm very proud to tell you this story. It's a very big, important story, and it's completely true. If you don't believe that it's true, then you must have nuts and bolts and screws loose in your head. This is a story about a farmer and a frog. Farmer out walking out near the farm. You know, farmers, they like to walk outside and look at the cows and look at the grass and look at the pigs and the horses and the barn and the creek. Oh, you know, there's a creek. Well, that's kind of a word for a small river. Actually, it wasn't such a small river, a pretty big river. The farmer's walking down, and he was whistling a song, and the song went like this. And he really liked this song. He was proud of this song. It's a catchy little song. In fact, that was the best song he had written all week. It's the best song he could remember ever hearing. He was singing this song, and he's watching this bullfrog. And a bullfrog, you know, bullfrogs love to jump. And the bullfrog was jumping from one side or bank of the river to the other side. He was jumping from bank to bank of the river, and the farmer was watching him. Farmer was whistling. And the farmer was thinking, I need some words for this song. I know what? I'll sing about that there bullfrog, because that bullfrog seems like it's having such a good time jumping. So he sang words to this song. He made them up, and the words went like this. Well, way down south in the yakety yak, a bullfrog jumped from bank to bank just 'cause he'd nothing better for to do. He stubbed his toe and he fell in the water. You could hear him holler for a mile and a quarter just because he'd nothing better for to do. And it was a pretty good song. He was singing that song to himself on his way into town. He just loved that song. He couldn't stop singing it. He changed the words a little. He sang way down yonder instead of south because the river was kind of just yonder over there. And he was singing, well, away down yonder in a yakety yak, a bullfrog jumped from a bank to bank just because he'd nothing better for to do. He was singing this song, and it was a pretty nice song. He stubbed his toe and he fell in the water. You could hear him holler for a mile and a quarter just because he'd nothing better for to do. The farmer was enjoying the song, went into the store, the old country store where they sold all sorts of vegetables and food for the cows. And cows mostly eat grass. They sold food for the pigs there, though. And he sang the song to his friends in the store. And they all started singing together. They loved the song. It was the best song anybody had ever heard. And they sang it together. They all sang, well, away down yonder in the yakety yak, a bullfrog jumped from a bank to bank just because he'd nothing better for to do. And they all singing along. He stubbed his toe and he fell in the water. You could hear him holler for a mile and a quarter just because he's nothing better for to do. And they were having a great time singing along. Well, pretty soon, the hours went by and it got kind of late, and the frog was off jumping in the river, and meanwhile, back at the farm, the cow was wondering, where was the farmer? Usually the farmer comes and milks the cow, and the cow was singing, where's the farmer? Nobody's coming to milk me. I'd better go look for him. And so the cow wandered into town, looked for the farmer, and he heard this song. Way down south in the yakety yak. And he got closer to the store, and the song got louder. A bullfrog jumped from bank to bank. And he opened the door. That's because he'd nothing better for to do. And he heard all these people singing this song. And it was the best song the cow had ever heard. So he joined right in. He sang in a cow way. He sang, moo 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 moo. And so all the people in the cow were singing, they were having a great time. Pretty soon the pig was wondering, hey, where's the farmer? Usually a farmer comes this time of night and feeds me. So the pig walked out of the barn and looked around and said, hey, where's the cow? The cow's not here either. So the pig didn't know where the farmer or the cow was. So the pig wandered into town, kind of oinking his way into town, and he heard a song in the distance, all the way down south in the yakety yak. And he got closer to the store. Sometimes they sang south, sometimes they sang yonder, but it's pretty much the same song each time, and it went, a bullfrog jumps from bank to bank, and the pig opened the door, and all of a sudden heard this big singing. Everyone was singing, just because he'd nothing better for to do. And he heard the cow mooing, moo 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 moo. The pig couldn't help himself. He loved the song so much the pig had to sing too. And the pig sang, oink 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 oink. So the pig was singing along, and the cow was singing along. The people, they were all having a great time. Meanwhile, the horse was wondering, hey, where did everybody go? The horse was in the barn too. Looked for the cow, wasn't there. Looked for the pig, wasn't there. Looked for the farmer, wasn't there. So the horse wandered into town, got into town, heard the song, got closer to the store, opened up the door, and what do you think the horse heard? Well, away down south in the yakety yak, a bullfrog jumped from a bank to bank just because he'd nothing better for to do. He stubbed his toe and he fell in the water. You could hear him holler for a mile and a quarter just because he'd nothing better for to do. And so the horse was amazed. It was the best song he'd ever heard. He forgot about not eating or whatever. Who cared? Let's just all sing along. So the horse started singing, nay, 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 nay. So the horse was singing along. The cow, the pig, the farmer. Pretty soon, back at the farm, the grass was wondering, hey, doesn't the cow usually start nibbling on me this time of night? And the horse, where's the horse? The cat. So the grass growing out of the ground was looking around. There were no animals there. So the grass swished its way into oh, it's true. The grass just swished its way right into town. He saw the county store actually, and he was listening and heard a song, well, way down south. It sounded like some people were having pretty good time singing. So he got closer, a bullfrog jumped from a bank, and the grass slid underneath the door, and suddenly heard everybody singing, just because he'd nothing better for to do. He stubbed his, and the grass was loving this song too. It was the best song the grass had ever heard. So the grass decided to sing along in a grass kind of way. Swish, 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 swish. So pretty soon, just about everybody was there inside this store, which was getting pretty darn full. Can you imagine all these people, the pig, the cow, the horse, the grass, all squeezing the store? And meanwhile, the barn out in the farm was getting awfully lonely. There was no grass, no cow, no farmer, no pig, no horse. So the whole barn just picked itself up and started creaking toward the town, and it creaked. Big barn. He heard the company store, heard the song, ran down south, and he got closer. A bullfrog jumped, and the barn opened the door of the store and squeezed in. The barn was bigger than the store, but it squeezed into the store. And it sang along, and it's sort of a creaky way. Creak, 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 creak. You know, you got to sing the way in your own language. Creak, 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 creak. And that was the language of the barn. Creak, 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 creak. They were all having a great time. Meanwhile, the bullfrog, which had been out hopping around from bank to bank this whole time, suddenly noticed that, hey, where is everybody? Well, I mean, where's the barn? Where's the grass? Where's everybody? So the bullfrog started hopping around, and he hopped toward town, and he heard this song, and way in the distance, away down south in the yakety yak. And he got closer to, and a bullfrog jumped from bank to bank, and he got right up next to the store, because pretty soon he could see the store was pretty full. He probably couldn't even fit in there, and he heard, just he stubbed his toe and he fell in the water. You could hear him holler for a mile. He could hear everybody singing. The cow, the horse, the barn, everybody was singing. And suddenly the bullfrog realized, hey, that's a nice song, but wait a minute. They're singing about me. And the frog was so proud that all those people and animals and things were all singing about the bullfrog, that he puffed himself up big. he just got puffed up with pride, and he was puffing himself and puffing himself. He was so proud. He was getting so big that he exploded. And when he exploded, the whole store exploded. And everyone was flying in the air, all bumping their heads. Ow, my head! And suddenly, and the barn flew all the way over to the back to the farm and landed exactly where it took off, started from. The barn landed back of the farm, and the grass was flying through the air, and it fell right into the ground right around the barn. And the cow was flying through the air, fell through the chimney of the barn, fell right into where it was in the barn. The same thing with the horse and the pig. They all flew and they fell, and the farmer flew through the air and fell right into his house, right into his dining room table where he's just about to eat dinner. And so everybody was back where they were, except where was the frog? What happened to the frog? The farmer didn't know. Nobody saw the frog. They hoped the frog was all right. And for days the farmer never saw the frog. Then one day he was out walking around, as farmers tend to do, seeing what's going on out in the farm, and he heard this song. Way down south there. It was way far away. It got closer. A bullfrog jumped from bank to bank just because. It got a little closer. Nothing better for to do. And it was the frog! And the frog was jumping from bank to bank and singing about himself, all proud as can be. So the farmer joined in. Well, way down south in a yakety yak, a bullfrog jumped from a bank to bank just because. You're nothing better for to do. And they sang together. He stubbed his toe and he fell in the water. You could hear him holler for a mile and a quarter just because he'd nothing better for to do. And that's the end of the story. Okay, here's a story that I got from upstairs in the loft at Daisy Brain. We saw this one before. It's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and it has a picture of Grandpa with this guy named Grandpa, and he's catching a soy meatball on a plate, and he has an umbrella. It's coming from the air. So anyway, it's written by Judy Barrett and drawn by Ron Barrett. They have the same last name. Maybe they're related to each other. And it's called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I'm not going to read all of it because I'm going to save time by just reading bits and pieces of it because I want to be in a hurry so I can fit it all on this tape. But it starts off at breakfast time when it's a Saturday morning and Zadie is making pancakes, and he flips one pancake into the air, and guess where it lands? It lands on Aaron's head. And that reminds Grandpa of a story he heard once. The story of a town called Chew and Swallow, a town very far away where it always rained. There was food coming from the sky. That's right, food. It rained, but it didn't rain. It didn't snow. It just rained and snowed food. It was a crazy place. When people were hungry, they would just look up in the sky to see what kind of food was coming down. Like, for instance, sometimes the wind blew in storms of soy burgers. I mean, the people could watch the weather report on television in the morning, and they'd know what was going to come for food the next day. Pancakes might fall down from the sky, maybe pieces of pie or soup, all sorts of things. Tofu hot dogs might come down. In the morning, usually some bread or toast would fall down, and some butter would fall down on top of it. Maybe scrambled eggs would fall down, and everybody ate it that way. They just they took their plates and cups and spoons and forks outside, and they just caught the food and they ate it. And the animals ate the food too that came down. If they wanted to go to a restaurant, there was no roof on the restaurant because they let the food just fall through the roof where the roof would be. The open window in the top of the restaurant, it landed right on the plates of the people in the restaurant. They ate it. In the evenings, there'd be a beautiful Jell-O sunset. And there was a sanitation department that would come along and sweep up all the extra food that people didn't eat at the end of the day, and they'd feed it to all the animals, and they'd plant it into the ground for the gardens. But one day, the weather started changing. Spaghetti all over the place. It went crazy and haywire. There was nothing but Gorgonzola cheese all day one day. The next day was only broccoli, all overcooked. And the next day, there were Brussels sprouts and peanut butter with mayonnaise. It was terrible. And the weather didn't seem to be getting any better. It seemed to be getting worse. People had never seen anything like this. One day it was just rolls, just bread and rolls all day, and that's all they had to eat. So much that the people all had to pile it up in their backyards to get it out of the way. Then a giant pancake fell down on the school. Nobody could get in and out, and they had to close the school, and the children couldn't go to school. One day there was a tomato tornado. People were sneezing themselves silly when there was an awful salt and pepper wind with it. Anyway, when donuts were rolling down the streets and ice cream was falling down the hills and pickles were falling into people's houses, they just knew that they all had to move away from the town of Chew and Swallow. So they made a giant boat out of old stale bread that had fallen from the sky, and they set sail, and they used cheese for the sails. In the ocean, they found another town to live in, where all it rained was water from the sky, and all it snowed was snow from the sky. The children began school again, and the adults all tried to find places for themselves in the new land. The biggest change they had to make was getting used to buying food at a supermarket. They found it really strange that all the food was kept on shelves, packaged in boxes, cans, and bottles. The soy tofu hot dogs had to be cooked and was kept in large refrigerators. Nothing came down from the sky except rain and snow. The clouds above their heads were not made out of fried eggs anymore, and no one ever got hit by a hamburger again. So they never went back to Chew and Swallow, and they lived in the new town. And the next morning, the children who heard Zadie tell that story woke up to see snow falling outside their window. They ran down for breakfast, and they ate it a little faster than usual so they could go out sledding with Grandpa. And it's funny, but even as they were sledding down the hill, they thought they saw a giant pat of butter at the top of the hill, and they could almost swear that they could smell mashed potatoes. The end. That is a condensed version of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, a book right here at Daisy Brain. And that is the end of the tape.